Mr. Chairman, last month, Con Edison placed a request before the New York State Public Service Commission to increase the rate of electricity in its region by 11% and the rate for gas by 13%. This in a time when the CEO of Con Ed makes $16 million and when some of our constituents are seeing bills of $3,000 or $4,000. This is in the time when we are facing unprecedented affordability crisis all around the country. Enough is enough. This is why we are passing this act to allow the County of Westchester to join the Con Ed rate case before the New York State Public Service Commission to push back on these obscene increases. Westchester residents deserve our day in court, and we deserve the chance to push back against a utility that seems more committed to lining the pockets of its management than to helping working people. It is not right for people who all they want is to keep their lights on and to keep their houses warm to be paying for these obscene increases. So on behalf of the Committee of Legislation and Law and Major Contracts, I am proud to move this item authorizing our entrance into the Con Ed rate case. Thank you,
Mr. Chairman. And I just want to echo my colleague, Legislator Momora's sentiments, right? I think we all here unanimously, all three parties represented, we all support this. This is tripartisan. This is one of the main issues that my office is contacted about on a day-to-day basis, these Con Ed bills and the delivery charge that goes with the bill, which is usually astronomically higher than the actual charge for the usage. You know, some would consider a win holding the line, flat rate. I want to see a cut. I want to see a cut. I know this is not utopia. We don't live in a perfect world, but look, we're dealing with a publicly sanctioned monopoly, and there's no competition, and you're paying, as aforementioned, you're paying your executive $16 million, right? You know, I represent a district where the average income is $40,000, if that, and you're asking people to pay north of $2,500 each month. It's not sustainable. The state of New York will die at this rate. It's just not sustainable. So I would like to see a cut. I would like to see them extend an olive branch and work with constituents and their representatives to come to a reasonable conclusion. But I will be voting in favor of this item tonight. But I just wanted to put my voice on the record for the constituents in the 13th district and also all of my colleagues' constituents throughout the county. We need to see this happen, and I'm happy we're doing this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to just not only join in what my colleagues just said, but emphasize that this is a critical step that we're taking tonight in standing up for the residents of our county. Because let's be clear, it's not just about rising utility costs, it's about a utility giant acting like a monopoly, squeezing out our families, our senior citizens, and small businesses for every last dollar while raking in record profits. And seriously, Con Edison is not struggling. In fact, they're thriving off the backs of hardworking customers posting billions in profit while, as you just heard, the CEO has a staggering $16 million salary, all while telling us that we must pay more to keep the lights on. But what's fueling the rate hikes? Not struggling households, not working class families, not local businesses barely keeping up with inflation. The main driver of the increased costs have been indicated as massive data centers, new manufacturing hubs, and cryptocurrency mining operations that guzzle electricity at levels most residents couldn't even fathom. And yet, it's everyday Westchester residents who are footing the bill. And let's not ignore the hypocrisy. Con Edison says costs must go up, yet their profits have never been higher. They say this is about infrastructure, yet our delivery fees are skyrocketing while customers see no real improvements. They tell us that this is just the cost of energy, But where are the executive cuts? Where is the accountability? With tonight, our constituency, the residents of Westchester County, can rest assured that we will not be bystanders. We're stepping up and demanding fairness. By joining this lawsuit, we're ensuring that Westchester has a seat at the table. We must be loud, we must be unified, and I encourage everyone to speak out during the Public Service Commission's public hearing, which we will provide further details about soon. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. Thank you to all my colleagues for their excellent comments. Particularly, my colleague here was just speaking about the manufacturing needs, which are driving the need for increased utilities. That is a national trend. That's not something even specific to Westchester. We were just in D.C. for the NACO conference, and I heard in a specific presentation in the Environmental Committee about the dramatic increase in electric usage, and it is being primarily driven by new manufacturing across this country. Data centers, chip manufacturers, Bitcoin operations, and obviously those industries are very happy, but this has nothing to do with the general user in our community and has nothing to do with the rate necessarily that we're seeing in front of us on a day-to-day basis. When this rate increase was first announced, I worked with our attorney here, Lisa Hoffman, who was just absolutely excellent on this issue, always my go-to person in dealing with the utility issues. And one of the first things we noticed as we went through the hundreds or maybe thousands of pages is there is literally not a single infrastructure item in here for Westchester County. So let me say that again. In this large increase, there is not a single item in here for Westchester County residents. It is all infrastructure changes for residents elsewhere, for other types of users. New York City real estate taxes, things that have nothing to do with Westchester County. And so when we take this tool to the table to fight for Westchester residents, we're going to be fighting with that data set in mind to make certain that the rates that we are being asked to cover for our residents actually reflect the services that are being provided to our residents. And as all my colleagues have said, the rates are too high. It is impossible. The bills are insane. We've gotten to the point where people's usage is smaller than their delivery charge, and that is a complete inverse from even how it was when I first came into office a few years ago. The situation is unsustainable, and as mentioned, they continue to rake in record profits. This is not the way it's supposed to be, especially not for a public utility. I am very happy that we are signing on to this. This is a very important action for us on behalf of the people of Westchester County. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman. Just to go off what my wonderful colleagues have been saying, just a few quick numbers. Con Edison has $66 billion of assets. They have $15 billion in annual revenue. They service 10 million people, roughly half the population in New York, and they have a monopoly. And I think we all understand profit is okay, greed is not. There's a big, big difference in profit and greed. And this is just pure greed. So this is the first step of fighting back locally. And I really appreciate all of our colleagues coming together to doing this as a team, as a family, as a community. And hopefully we'll be joining with our state partners and federal partners fighting back as well. Because this is not the first time this has happened. There's been blizzards, there's been blackouts. There's also been scandals. If you look in Con Edison's history, go back to 2009, there were some issues there with kickbacks. And the company's been plagued with a lot of issues. And they have a horrible monopoly on us. And they're really hurting a lot of people. At the end of the day, people are first. People over profit, people over greed. And this is the first step in fighting back. So thank you. I appreciate all of our colleagues joining together as one unified force and team and family. And this is going to be a long fight, though, that we're going to do together and succeed together with our state and federal partners. Because this is absurd. It keeps happening year in and year out, and it's going to get worse next year if we don't do something now to stop it and prevent it. So thank you. I full-heartedly support this.
Very glad that this body is passing this tonight, and that we will be becoming a party to this lawsuit. And I think one of the very important things about being part of a lawsuit is that you can get information that you might not otherwise be able to get. And I think one of the big problems we have is that Con Edison is not very transparent, and we really don't know without digging in deeper exactly what is going on and what the money is being spent on and why we're being charged for things that are not even going to benefit us. So it's very, very important that we join this lawsuit. I'm very pleased that we are, but it is only a first step because clearly this system that we have is not working very well. We have this essentially a monopoly, as was stated, and typically, if you have a monopoly, there are some sort of stops, caps, whatever, something to prevent it from becoming sort of a runaway train, because they have a captive audience. We have no choice but to get the delivery, the infrastructure that Con Edison now owns. We have no choice but to get our electricity from them. And it is a major, major problem for all of our residents. And we are going to have to figure out, with the state's help, how we can make changes so that this does not go on into the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Legislator Clements?
I really have a major concern about this. Con Ed is definitely putting profits over people. The biggest concern I also have is we take in energy from Canada, and now on top of everything and these charges, there's tariffs there. So if we don't fight back now, we have no idea the increases that will go on. So we have a twofold problem, Con Ed and tariffs. And we have to fight back now because people won't be able to turn the lights on. That's how bad it is. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, in 2023, just 2 years ago, the New York State Public Service Commission approved Con Edison's rate increase at about 12%, and that was over the course of 3 years. The constituents that I serve in Yonkers, residents all over Westchester County, they're feeling that increase already. And here they are coming back, proposing another 11% and 13% increase for electric and gas. That's basically another $500 added to taxpayers' bills. That's unacceptable. It's criminal. The majority of calls that I get from my constituents are housing issues and Con Edison bills. And I feel terrible because I can't do much about it. But here we are, this time in case where we're sitting, we can do something, and that's what this legislation does, this act. And so I'm proud to stand with my colleagues and join this rate case against Con Edison because it is absolutely criminal and they must be stopped. I am not happy with the State Public Service Commission for even considering it. Shame on them. I'll be the only person to say it, but I'm going to say shame on all of them. This is a monopoly. This is unacceptable. And we have to do everything we can right now to protect the people of Westchester. Thank you.
Look how united we are. I don't think there's anybody in this room that doesn't see that we just cannot take any more increase to Con Ed. We are in an abusive relationship. Our state senator, Shelley Mayer, who had her rally on Valentine's Day, I think she called it perfectly, holding it on that day, because there is absolutely no love here for Con Ed. And they don't have love for us and our constituents. And, my colleague, Legislator Boykin, who chairs economic development, what we have done in this county for economic development, it has been tremendous, the growth that we have seen. But what has been working against us right now are the Con Ed rate increases. Earlier tonight, we heard about County Executive O'Rourke. There was another county executive, Alfred Del Bello. And during his tenure as county executive, he perceived the problem of Con Ed even back then and had put a referendum to Westchester County voters to actually take over the utility company. We would have been able to do that for somewhere around $560 million to $1 billion, which back in 1979 seemed like a lot of money, which is why 54% of our constituents voted against it. What a sad thing. But here we are, and all I can say is, again, our county executive, Ken Jenkins, is showing leadership by getting us involved. We're showing leadership. This is the right thing for our residents because, as Legislator Williams said, we don't have a lot of control here. The PSC controls so much of what happens. But by joining in this lawsuit is what Legislator Barr said about being able to actually get some disclosure of things. This is an incredibly important step. And I've been around here long enough to know, going back to the rate case of 2016, 2019, we can help our residents by doing this. So I really want to thank all of you for joining in this, and thank you.
Yes, thank you. I'm happy, to stand up and speak out against this. I think I've been quite vocal on it for the last 3 years, going back to when they started the rates. I remember I had constituents reaching out to me saying that they couldn't keep their lights on or put food in their fridge, and I felt helpless trying to explain to them there's nothing that we can do here at the county but speak out. It's refreshing to see that this is a united front, that we're all speaking out on every level possible to do what we can for our constituents. I think our colleagues in Albany have finally received the message that we're not happy about this, and that if the Public Service Commission feels that they can go forward and support this, that, maybe it's time that they revoke them from that committee and put people on there that think in the best interests of the constituents instead of profits, along with Con Edison. So it's important that we keep going forward. It's been an exhausting fight so far, but we're going to continue to fight together to do what we can to represent Westchester County and all our constituents. I've had constituents reach out to me for $3,200 bills a month, $2,500 bills, just like we all have, and enough is enough. We can't keep continuing to rip into somebody's pocket and pull out every dime possible. We need to make sure that they get the message that we're here united and united together. So thank you.
We've all had constituents reach out to us, the families that live in this community in Westchester, throughout Westchester, complaining about how much their bills have risen and how difficult that's making their lives. Affordability is an issue throughout, but this complicated public service commission process, in truth, the county has a smaller role than some people realize. A lot of this falls on the state, but individually, we have much less power. Collectively, together, we have a heck of a lot of power. The people that live in the Con Ed service district don't have a choice to go to another service provider. They just have to accept whatever rate is given to them. They can't go to another competitor. That's the way this monopoly has been going. And for the seniors who have no other choice, for the people that are barely able to pay their bills, it is absolutely ridiculous that they are on top of the exorbitant rises in their bills thus far, being asked to foot that bill going forward even more is kind of astonishing. And the last point was made that this process will allow us some ability to ask questions about Con Edison, its operations, and specifically its operations in Westchester and vis-a-vis Westchester community. It is not transparent. It is unclear, I think everywhere, but certainly here. So when we get asked, I invite and would encourage our constituents to continue reaching out to us and be a part of this Public Service Commission hearing. Your voices are important, and all the more important now that this is being requested. So it is my sincere pleasure, honor to be supporting this item as well. And as it is the last item, and something that we are doing here for the first time at the county legislature,